So please join me on stage the following 6 speakers, torej sledečih 6 govorcev, če se mi prosim pridružite na odru. Herr Dr. Dieter Schlenker, gospod Lojze Peterle, gospod Drago Šketa, Your Excellency Mr. Paramjit Mann, Ambassador of India, Professor Rosival, Dr. Rok Svetlič, izvolite, torej Dr. Schlenker, gospod Peterle, gospod Šketa, gospod Svetlič, over here, Your Excellency, please, and Dr. Rosival, the last one. Kar izvolite sim. Well, the big excitement is gone. Tale največje navdušenje je mimo. Predsednik, gospod Borut Pahor, nas je žal moral zapustiti. So unfortunately, the president of Slovenia had to leave us. Welcome back to the second part of the plenary session, in which we will follow 6 contributions, 6 short keynote speeches by established scientists and representatives of different institutions. To se pravi, v tem drugem delu plenarnega zasedanja bomo poslušali 6 prispevkov, krajših prispevkov naših keynote speakerjev. Cenjene goste, vljudno prosim, da skrajšajo svoje prispevke na 10 minut, so I would kindly ask dear guests to shorten your speeches to 10 minutes, because we are already half an hour late with our program. Torej, na otvoritvi razstave smo videli, kako pomembno je interdisciplinarno delovanje in povezovanje med državami in kulturami in pa seveda tudi v umetnosti. Prav tako pomembno pa je, da je vse to evropsko povezovanje in raziskovanje tudi primerno arhivirano in dokumentirano. At the opening of the exhibition European University Bridges, we saw the importance of interdisciplinary approach and good relations between countries, cultures and arts. Also important for the European integration is that all these connections and research are also properly archived. So more about that, Dr. Dieter Schlenker, Director of Historical Archives of the European Union from Florence. Here you go.
Good afternoon. I would like to first thank our hosts at Alma Mater under President Toplak for this kind invitation to speak here in this very illustrious and very special audience. Dear Presidents, dear Excellencies, colleagues, friends and students. Yes, I'm coming from Florence, where I'm directing the Historical Archives of the European Union, something that you would probably not expect. Why would the EU Historical Archives be in Florence and not, as mentioned this morning, everything is in Brussels? So, in fact, the EU has got a certain presence all over Europe, and we are one of those, let's say, more decentralized units. Now, I want to talk about communications, because as we stated this morning, it's all about people. This is the theme, the subject of the day, and this is also obviously our service. Archives are about people and are for people. Now, I would suspect that nobody here probably ever heard, at least from the student side, from our archives. I would be really surprised if you know us. So, this is the starting point, let's say, for my short talk, which is about communication. Communication in Europe, communication in a transnational environment which we are facing as Historical Archives of the EU. Some experience and also some interdisciplinarity, because obviously I'm archivist by profession, historian, but in fact I'm faced to also acquire other skills, like in this case communication skills, because I'm supposed to promote my archives, which is a very small archives. It's not cannot be compared to the important national archives that exist in Europe. So the context is the following. The EU institutions 30 years ago decided to create archives. Obviously, as an institution, you create a lot of paperwork, internal documentation, the EU institutions noticed after 25 years that they have accumulated so much paper that they have to organize it, structure it, decide upon preservation and what to do with these archives. Now they took a quite revolutionary, I would say, decision within Europe, which is obviously being a project, an ambitious project of creating a European Union, a European political cooperative entity. They did not go for the creation of a typical national archive, which would indeed have been in Brussels or Luxembourg. No, they attached the historical archives of the EU to an academic institution. And that's quite unique. Why? Because they thought at the time that Florence, which was the new hub for a European academic community, which was the European University Institute, would be the right place to do European studies. And in fact, the EUI, which is a doctoral and postdoctoral institute, university institute in Florence, that's our business. So we have about 600 doctoral students in economy, history, political science, and law that dedicate basically all their researches to Europe in some way. Now, obviously, I have these still 6 minutes to convince you to get interested into Europe, into European studies, and maybe one day even come to our archives. We have established a quite close cooperation with Maribor alma mater, with the Archival Science Department already years ago. I went to speak at the International Archives Institute in Trieste. This is the first time that I come here. We also have a very physical achievement in that we were able to hire the first trainee from Alma Mater Europea, a student that was studying with Professor Klasinc, and that is now one of our best potential future archivists in our team. So the context is that we are an archive that has a big ambition, because we're supposed to cover a space, a European space with 28 member states, with a total of 500 million people. Most of them don't know about us. And obviously, being an archive, we have a very specific target audience. So how can we broaden this target audience? Because obviously, in terms of transparency, good governance, access to information, the European Union, the EU institutions are obliged and also proactively making available their documentations to citizens. So how can we overcome this huge gap? So we were trying to face this situation a few years back by establishing a communication strategy. Now, a communication strategy obviously is something scientific. So communications is a science. So how can we as archivists communicate to the public if we don't have the skills, the knowledge, and the experience in doing that? It's not anymore enough to just run a website or to speak to people, to speak in conferences. It's nice to have, but it's not enough. So we had to professionalize our approach, which in our case was also quite demanding because we're just a small service of 20 people. So we had to first come up with key messages. What do we want to communicate out to Europe, to the world? So as a European archives, our mission is to preserve the memory of this unique project of European integration, deeply and profoundly unique because it's the first inter- or transnational project that was built initially as a Western European project, now also expanding obviously since the enlargements 2004 and 2007 to Eastern Europe. We have to preserve the memory of this unique process of integrating. We have to communicate, so make people interested in this memory. Use this memory in terms of knowledge, inform people about the past, all the various steps that were taken in combination to this process of European integration. We also have to obviously report back and service all the EU institutions all the member states in the public sector, so we are kind of also a service institution. And we have to give access to this material. Now, access to the material, obviously, in archival terms, is a huge and very demanding exercise, because in our case, hosting 7 kilometers of paper archives, access can only be through either a physical access in a reading room, you have to come to Florence, or in fact through digitization initiatives, electronic, digital access, modern access tools to information. So the target audience that we had to specify in our communication strategy was in fact that we cannot just bluntly expect that 500 million people are contacted in some way by us, but we have to target the various types of audiences that we have. On the one side, very clearly researchers, historians, lawyers, political scientists that are interested in the European process, be it critical, be it pro-European, whatever is the starting point. So the scientific approach, that's the main, let's say the main target audience, but also there's much more. So there is educational programs, so we got engaged with schools, trying to also get children and students interested in what the European heritage is about. A European memory, a common European memory, to reflect in which way did we spend the last 70 years together in Europe, going far beyond just bilateral cooperation, but creating a common space, a European space that is based on common values, that is based on common treaties, and on a common objective. We have difficulties and huge challenges in terms of languages. Now, this is a very prominent example today. This conference, since Europe is united in diversity, this also reflects in the languages. We have 23 official languages in the EU. Obviously, it cannot be expected from us as a minor service to communicate whatever we have in 23 languages. It's just practically impossible. So we have to concentrate again along the target audiences to whom we can communicate in which language. So we have on the one side a very complex situation. We're hosted in Italy, so obviously we have a very broad Italian interest in our institution, the European University Institute. European University Institute as an academic institution is English-based, so English is basically the academic language. We have a community with students coming from more than 60 countries, so it's a pragmatic approach. All the teaching, all the publications are done in English. The EU institutions, as you may know, have a French, a very francophone culture, being based in Luxembourg and Brussels at the time, being driven as a project initially by the French, Schuman Declaration, French foreign minister in 1950. It is a very French culture. So basically the inventories, the catalogs, all the material we receive from Brussels, from Luxembourg, as archival material is mostly in French. So we have a very important francophone target audience. Then, I must admit, we are a service that not only archives and provides research material on EU institutions, but we're going far beyond. Our ambition is to be the center, the archival center, the preservation and access center for all the documents, archival documents that are related to the process of European integration, which means that we have various other contacts with institutions such as European Space Agency, such as European Free Trade Association, and many, many others, where in fact we act as a deposit. The same goes for individuals. Communication is about people, personalize, humanize. We are offering services, archiving service also for individual politicians, actors, presidents of the commissions, of the parliaments that deposit their private papers with us. Now, this has as a consequence that we provide inventory, catalog, information material also in their languages. So we have Italian depositors, Spanish depositors, German depositors, which again enlarges the spread of our communications. Now, the tools that we use are obviously rather far from what you would expect from an archivist. Archivists are traditionally seen as guardians of the memory. In our case, we try to go into social media, we try to go into web as communication tool, also because it's the only way to do this in a transnational environment. I said 28 member states. Our clients are in Luxembourg, Brussels, but also spread in all the various agencies, EU agencies all over Europe. So we have to find tools to communicate to them, which cannot be through written communications, a brochure, this traditional material. So we're bound to the digital way of communication, which means that we're stepping into social media, we have our accounts, we're trying to also include the new visual communications, because as you may notice, our world is becoming much more visual. So we need videos, we need photos online, so we try to work on this field as well, but always with the challenge of facing different countries, different languages, a huge transnational sector that has expectations. Obviously, as more you communicate, the more there are expectations to be informed. So this is just in a nutshell what we're currently working on, our communication strategy, which in its first version has been concluded. It's been published. We're revising it currently, and we're doing much more scientific research on also the different ways of communications in an archival environment. You will certainly be able to read sooner or later an article that I will publish on this to be more informed. And obviously my wish is that some of the students may consider in either their master or following doctoral studies that you pick a European subject and you come along to Florence and take a look at the physical material we have and study the history of this joint project of European integration. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Najlepša hvala dr. Dietru Schlenkerju. Več o sami arhivistiki pa seveda v jutrišnji celodnevni sekciji, ki se začne zgodaj zjutraj in bo trajala vse do 17. ure. More about archival studies, you can follow that tomorrow. There is a full day section starting at 8:30 in the morning and it will finish at about 4 o'clock in the afternoon. Ostajamo v Evropski uniji oziroma v Evropi in zato smo veseli, da se nam je tudi letos pridružil poslanec Evropskega parlamenta gospod Alojz Peterle. Gospod Peterle je sočasno tudi član odbora za zunanje zadeve, nadomestni član odbora za okolje, javno zdravje in varnost hrane, sopredsedujoči ENVI delovne skupine za zdravje in predsednik interesne skupine poslanci zoper raka. We're staying in Europe, we're back in the European Union and are glad to welcome back Mr. Alojz Peterle, member of the European Parliament. He's also a member of the Foreign Affairs Committee, a substitute member of the Committee on Environment, Public Health and Food Safety, co-chair of the Health Working Group and the president of the Members Against Cancer Interest Group. Gospod Peterle vas bo naslovil za prispevkom Health First. Mr. Peterle, izvolite.
Spoštovani gospod predsednik, ekscelence, dragi gostje, spoštovana publika. Nekoč so vprašali Joškota Gravnerja, ki je zame eden najboljših vinogradnikov na svetu, kaj mu pomeni enologija, veda ali znanost o vinu. Je rekel, enologija ni pomembna, pomembna je filozofija. Jaz sem zato, ker tu v Mariboru že nekaj časa na teh konferencah diši po filozofiji. In Evropska zveza se ni začela s pogodbo o jeklu in premogu, ampak se je začela s filozofijo, začela se je s konceptom človeka, s poudarkom na osebi. Očetje Evrope niso postavili v sredino ideologije, ne države, ampak koncept človeka. Od takrat je kulturni temelj Evropske zveze spoštovanje človekovega dostojanstva. Chirac je rekel najprej Francija, Trump pravi najprej Amerika, Schuman, Adenauer, de Gasperi in podobni ljudje pa so rekli najprej spoštovanje človekovega dostojanstva. Zato se v Evropi pogovarjamo, sklepamo kompromise, se ne izločamo in se ne bojujemo več na vojaški način. Zdaj pa k naslovu mojega nastopa najprej zdravje. Jaz bi takole rekel, kaj nam pomaga zdravje, če pa je vse več bolnih Evropejcev. Mi smo ponosni na napredek znanosti, na napredek medicine, ampak zdravstvene statistike zaenkrat še niso na strani napredka. Rak napreduje, vsak drugi v Evropi lahko nanj računa za časa svojega življenja, podobno je z diabetesom, osteoporozo, alergijami, lahko bi naštel še vrsto bolezni, ki gredo vse navzgor, nekatere z eksponencialno rastjo. In jaz mislim, da tukaj prihajamo spet v en problem filozofije oziroma problem filozofske narave. Mi se ukvarjamo s posameznikom, mi se ukvarjamo pravzaprav bolj prav rečeno z boleznimi, ne ukvarjamo se pa toliko z družbami. In dejstvo, da imamo te tako močne bolezni, kažejo na to, da so bolne družbe, da bo treba zdraviti družbo. In to pomeni, da se moramo ukvarjati tudi s paradigmo, v kateri oziroma s katero živimo. Paradigma vedno pomeni neko izhodišče, odkoder gledaš, je neki kot, s katerega nekaj vidiš, če pa se kam premakneš drugam, pa vidiš lahko druge zadeve oziroma isto realnost z drugega stališča. In kaj je problem s paradigmo? Paradigma zmeraj pomeni zbirko konceptov, odnosov, standardov in tako naprej. Paradigme se ne da pozdraviti. Paradigmo se težko korigira, paradigmo je treba zamenjati, če hočemo naprej. Kozmetika ne zadostuje. In bi vam rad dal en primer, ker se je prav v tej dvorani že govorilo tudi o teh zadevah, kako je bilo s socializmom. Socializma se ni dalo reformirati. Jaz se spominjam, kako je bilo v Jugoslaviji, smo šli na vsake tuk časa v nove reforme, ampak zato, ker prejšnja ni prijela. In se je izkazalo, da se tega sistema ne da popraviti, ne da se ga reformirati, ker je napačen temelj, napačna je bila paradigma. Bistven del te paradigme je bilo pričakovanje, da bomo imeli boljši svet takrat, ko bomo izločili nekatere, ko bo en razred zmagal proti drugemu. Skratka, mi smo živeli, jaz recimo 42 let, v izločevalni paradigmi. Moje geslo, ne bi rekel, da je to samo geslo, ampak jaz mislim, da je to zadeva preživetja za Evropo, je najprej zdravje. Vse več politikov govori o tem in mantra v Bruslju je več denarja za raziskave na področju raka in drugih bolezni in seveda želja za novimi zdravili. Ampak to je ravno tisto, ali pa samo s čimer si ne moremo pomagati. In vam bom povedal zdaj nekaj o antimikrobni rezistenci. Zdaj vi veste, kako je z antibiotiki, da če dalje manj prijemljajo in da je zdaj mrzlično iščemo nove antibiotike, ampak zato se seveda potrebuje veliko časa, veliko raziskav, veliko denarja. In zanimivo, jaz sem že pred 10 leti slišal, da se s probiotiki, če jih uporabljaš za čiščenje v bolnicah, lahko zmanjšaš infekcije do 90%. Ko je meni to trdilo podjetje, ki to dela, tega nisem dajal v javnost. Odkar imamo raziskave italijanskih univerz, ena je v Messini, ki trdijo isto, od takrat naprej citiram zadevo. In zakaj to razlagam? Zato, ker nam trg skupni v Evropi na to temo ne deluje. Torej, mi vemo dovolj, da bi lahko ravnali drugače. Mi vemo, kako močni so probiotiki v primerjavi z kemičnimi sredstvi, vendar zelo počasi prihajajo probiotiki v rabo, ker so bolnice zavezane z dolgoročnimi pogodbami, z znanimi sredstvi in ta informacija, da bi lahko veliko življenj rešili s probiotiki, preprosto ne prodre, oziroma pravim, da ni del skupnega trga. Torej, tukaj ni treba raziskovati na novo, ampak za ta segment, s katerim bi lahko preprečili veliko infekcij, ki jemljejo čedalje več ljudi, torej bi lahko naredili ljudem dobro, brez dodatnih investiranj v raziskave. In zdaj bi jaz rad rekel še nekaj besed ker čas hitro teče, o preventivi. Preventiva je v ustih vseh, ki danes govorijo o zdravju. In kaj je preventiva? Zame je preventiva delo z zdravimi. Naš zdravnik ima v povprečju, zadnja številka, ki sem jo bral, 7 minut za pacienta. To pomeni 7 minut časa za enega, ki je bolan. Zdaj, če je že za bolne tako malo časa, kje bo imel lahko naš zdravnik, ki je kvalitetno izobražen, čas za delo z zdravimi. Jaz sem predlagal pred 4 leti predsedniku Evropske komisije Junckerju, da bi imenovali tudi komisarja za preventivo, ne glede na to, da je zdravstvena politika več ali manj v rokah držav članic. Ker nekdo se mora začeti bolj ukvarjati z zdravimi, ker samo tam imamo rezervo. Če bomo delali zdravimi, ne bo prihajalo do dotoka novih bolnikov. In tukaj vemo, koliko lahko že življenjskim slogom spremenimo. Zaenkrat v Evropski zvezi v povprečju dajo nacionalni budžeti zdravstveni po 3% za preventivo. Jaz sem tukaj verjetno že lani rekel, da je to zame statistična napaka, ne pa izraz neke politike. In tukaj je rezerva, v katero bi kazalo investirati. In jaz razmišljam o tako provokativni ideji, ker so številke, so res, bi rekel, zaskrbljujoče, da bi morali imeti pravzaprav 2 zdravnika, enega za bolne pa enega za zdrave. Nekaj bo treba narediti, to je zelo preprosto povedano, ampak želim povedati, da se moramo zdravimi veliko bolj ukvarjati, če nočemo, da ne bodo bolnice še bolj polne. In bi rekel, smo spet pri filozofiji. In vam bom povedal, zakaj hodim na kongrese integrativne medicine. Letos bo v Sloveniji Evropski kongres integrativne medicine. Hodim zaradi filozofije, zaradi vključevalne paradigme. Verjamem, da lahko koncept integrativne medicine, ki hoče kombinirati najboljše zdravje različnih vrst medicine, in lahko na tak način okrepimo učinkovitost medicine. In to bi seveda pacienti zelo pozdravili. Jaz bi si želel tekme v tem smislu, kdo bo boljši, ne kdo bo močnejši. Smo še kar naprej pri filozofiji. Če ste poslušali predsednika vlade ali ministre, bodo vsi govorili, da moramo izboljšati našo konkurenčnost. To ne velja seveda samo za gospodarstvo. Ampak ko sem bil jaz v razvojnem oddelku Huaweia, ki je v marsičem vodilni proizvajalec na področju informacijske tehnologije, je moj kolega, prvega človeka te firme vprašal, je rekel, veste, tam, kjer še niste ta prvi, pa boste čez leto ali 2 ta prvi v svetovnem merilu. In je ta gospod zadolžen za razvoj rekel, veste, nas ne zanima, da bi bili ta prvi, nas zanima, da bi bili najboljši. In tukaj je ena razlika, ki se pozna tudi v zdravstvu, še posebej v območju farmacije. Ne gre za to samo, kdo bo boljši, ampak kdo bo močnejši, kdo bo prevladoval, kdo bo več prodal, kdo bo več zaslužil in tako naprej. To vam razlagam znane zadeve. Torej, jaz mislim, da je treba tudi princip konkurenčnosti premisliti. Jaz sem za to, da tekmujemo v tem, kdo bo boljši, ne pa samo v tem, kdo bo močnejši. No in zdaj ena mala, a se že vodi, en mali odsvirk, ki gre malce čez mejo. V Ljubljani živi ena gospa, ki je zdravnica, ki obvladuje tudi homeopatijo. Ona ima enkrat na teden ambulanto v Gradcu za slovenske paciente. Ker je pri nas tako, kot je, se ona iz Ljubljane vozi v Gradc, v ambulanto in tisti slovenski pacienti, ki jih to zanima, hodijo k njej. Ne bi šel zdaj v stroške in take zadeve, ampak na Gorenjskem bi rekli, tok imamo. Skratka, en mali podatek, ki govori, kako je. Glejte, jaz bom zaključil, tako razumem prisotnost na levi strani. Evropska zgodba se je začela z voljo delati skupaj in naša prihodnost je od tega, kaj bomo definirali, da je treba delati skupaj. In jaz bi rekel, da najprej zdravje ni geslo in je zadeva preživetja. In še končam s tem, včeraj sem bil na eni konferenci v Španiji, kjer smo govorili veliko o inovacijah in digitalizaciji. Tam mi je en Poljak dal eno aplikacijo, s katero sem v eni minuti dobil EKG. Poslej mi ne bo treba hoditi ne v Ljubljano, ne v Maribor, kamorkoli. Vključil bom tisto zadevco, dal 2 prsta gor in bom videl, kako je z mojim srcem. Hvala Bogu, je bilo zelo v redu, je rekel tisti gospod. Skratka, digitalizacija je naše sredstvo. Je veliko orodje v naših rokah, ampak z njo ne moramo digitalizirati ne duše, ne paradigme. Duše ne bomo nikoli digitalizirali in mi se moramo zmeniti, ali bomo služili digitalizaciji, ali bo digitalizacija služila nam. Hvala lepa in gospod predsednik Toplak, hvala, čestitke k novi konferenci.
Thank you very much. Najlepša hvala gospodu Alezu Peterletu. Talking about health, I would like to mention that Alma Mater Europea is organizing the 11th European Congress on Integrative Medicine. This is something that Mr. Peterle mentioned earlier on, so ECIM 2018, that will be held in September from 21st to the 23rd of September in Ljubljana in Hotel Union. Ko smo že pri zdravju, gospod Peterle je omenil, da bo Alma Mater gostila letos tudi za njegovo prisotnostjo že 11. Evropski kongres integrativne medicine, ki ga bomo izvedli med 21. in 23. septembrom v hotelu Union v Ljubljani, vljudno vabljeni. Sedaj pa prosim, da se nam pridruži gospod Drago Šketa, generalni državni tožilec. We'll continue with the next speaker, Mr. Drago Šketa, Prosecutor General. Izvolite.
Spoštovani predsednik, gospod Toplak, spoštovani študentje, ostali gostje, študentke. Kot bi nadaljeval z eno lepo istočnico, ki mi je gospod Peterle podal za mojo tematiko razvoj, torej vpliv humanizma na razvoj pravne države in digitalizacijo osebnosti vpliva. Začetki humanistov sega vse do Platona in kasneje tudi v srednjeveške teoretike, kot so bili tudi naš Primož Trubar in pa Erazen Rotterdamski, ki so humanizem povezovali z osebnostjo človekom kot samim, so nekako dali prednost posamezniku, v drugi sferi pa tudi pri razvoju pravne države, ki je bil moj drug cikl, tudi vplivu države na življenje posameznika. Kaj ima to kakšna povezava in interakcija med tem se odvija, bi lahko rekli na ta način, da v obdobju sodobne družbe, digitalizacije, kibernetskih aplikacij pogojuje to, da zgubljamo stik dejansko z človekom kot takšnim in tudi pri pravnih normah, ki vplivajo na odločanje tako sodstva kot tožilstva, kot tudi drugih, ki se ukvarjajo z pravom ter pravno državo ter načelom delitve oblasti, seveda povezujejo zgodbo v to, da smo nekako prešli tiste meje razuma preveč v tretjo ero, milenijsko ero, na ta način pa tudi se nekako odmikamo od posameznika. Ne samo Platon, ne samo tudi naši teoretiki so dali v preteklosti veliko zaslombo na posamezniku kot takšnem in so seveda upoštevali to vključevanje tudi v Ustavi Republike Slovenije, kjer imamo par pravnih načel, ki vplivajo na vpliv humanizacije pri pravni državi, kot so načelo enakosti, načelo pravičnosti, kjer dajejo postulate tudi sodstvu, da upoštevajo določena pravna načela, ko tehtajo določene okoliščine, ne samo v kazenskem pravu, ampak tudi v civilnem. Zakaj temu tako pravimo? Ves čas se dotaknemo posameznega malega človeka, ki ga treba obravnavati v okviru subjektivnih vidikov kazenskega prava ali civilnega prava in od primera do primera upoštevati tudi ta osnovna načela v našem pravu, ki so postavljena na ta način in prevelikokrat zapostavljena, ki bi dale tonus tega humanističnega pristopa pri izvrševanju delitve oblasti. Seveda, pa ne samo sodna veja oblasti, ampak tudi izvršna in zakonodajna veja morata upoštevati tovrstna načela v takšni meri, da poskušajo doseči ne samo pravo, ampak tudi pravičnost. Tukaj trčimo ob dva postulata, povema v pravu, ki se ves čas nekako razdvojujeta na dve zgodbi, ki nista vedno enako vrednoteni in seveda večkrat v javnosti tudi kritizirano uporabljeno pravo, ki pa posameznikom ni bilo toliko pravično, kot bi se njim zdelo, da bi naj bilo. Seveda bi lahko rekli, da je tudi sodna veja kot takšna lahko bi bila, vsaj kar se tiče državnega tožilstva, katerega zastopam, kot generalni državni tožilec nekako umeščena v večjo uporabo oportunitetnih načel. To pomeni, da pravo uporabljamo od primera do primera, vezano na posamezne subjekte, posameznika, kakšen način bomo uporabili pravo. Nekaj takšnih že poznamo, ampak v delu, ki so uzakonjene, torej to so kot po razumu priznanju krivde, odložen pregon, poravnavanje, vse to so instituti v kazenskem pravu, kjer zavržemo kazenske zadeve, lahko bi pa tudi uporabili druge koncepte, kot na primer, kot sem že prej povedal, načelo oportunitete, kot ga poznajo posamezne pravni sistemi, France in pa podobni, kjer se poslužujejo postulatov, da sploh ne uvedejo kazenskih pregonov, temveč štejejo te zadeve, kot je tudi pri nas poznano, da je dejanje nesorazmerno z posledicami, ki so nastale pri kaznivem dejanju. Vendar pri nas so določeni normativni okviri, v tujini pa je prepuščena ta diskrecijska pravica večji del posameznikom, torej tožilcem ali pa tudi pri odločanju torej tudi sodiščem. Pravna država. Ves čas se sprašujemo, kaj je pravna država. Ali je to vladavina prava, ali je to vladavina zakonov, ali je to vladavina določenih političnih oblastnikov, ki izvršujejo, predpisujejo zakone. Seveda, sodstvo in tožilstvo upošteva predpisane norme, ki so normativno urejene z tistim, kar je predpisala ena izmed vej oblasti, torej zakonodajna veja oblasti na predlog tudi velikokrat izvršilne veje oblasti, ki je takrat na oblasti. Ali nam izvršilna oblast preko zakonodajne oblasti, ki ima takratno večino tudi, vsiljuje določene norme, katere smo dolžni v sodstvu in pa v tožilstvu upoštevati. Ali lahko si privoščimo odmike od odstopanj. Seveda, določene odločitve Ustavnega sodišča gredo v tej smeri, ki nam tudi dajo te vrste možnosti, sploh v zadnjem času, kot sem že prej poudaril, tudi načelo pravičnosti, ki pa seveda ni zakonodajno normativno predpisana, ampak se tehtajo okoliščine. Seveda se velikokrat tehtajo okoliščine tudi v posameznih primerih, tudi še preden začenjamo kazenski pregon, ko smo še nekje v predkazenskih postopkih, ko tehtamo posamezne okoliščine, ali poseči v človekove pravice z prisluhi, s tajnim opazovanjem, tajnim sledenjem, vse to je podvrženo tehtanju. V prvi meri tožilca, v drugem koraku sodnika, ki odloča o teh ukrepih. Glede na to, da gre za poseg v posameznikove pravice, seveda moramo ves čas ob upoštevanju tovrstnih pravnih kavtel, dokaznih standardov, pravnih standardov, nekako te zadeve restriktivno uporabljati, tako kot večkrat povemo, v bistvu so vse ti ukrepi ultima ratio, torej kot zadnji, da posežemo v človekove pravice. Tudi, ko izrekamo kazenske sankcije oziroma ko se predlagajo kazenske sankcije, seveda načelo subjektivitete posameznika, odnos do kaznivega dejanja in pa vse te zadeve pomembne pri izreku kazenske sankcije, tudi včasih samo pogojne narave ali pa drugačne izvedbe. Ker tudi v tem delu je potreben humanizem kot takšen in je potreben nek poseben odnos človeka, ki odloča o teh zadevah. Naj poudarim, glede na to, da sem bil tudi član Državno-tožilskega sveta in tudi prej kot vodja, smo v zadnjih naborih, kjer izbiramo državne tožilce, jih ne izbiramo samo v okviru klasičnih testov, kateri so tudi prisotni, ampak eni izmed testov so tudi napisani in podvrženo čustveni inteligenci, kjer preverjamo čustveno inteligenco posameznikov, ko jih izbiramo na to vrstno odgovorna mesta. To vrstno prakso posamezne države že poznajo, seveda, in naravno tukaj je tista pomembna okoliščina in pa stvar, da ne dobimo samo intelektualca kot takšnega z pravno fakulteto, ampak da na drugi strani tudi uveljavljamo ta duševni pristop oziroma čustven pristop posameznika, ki zna presojati od primera do primera. Mi rečemo pravna subsumpcija, torej dejanski stan, torej neko izvršitveno ravnanje, kako pretvoriti v pravno normo in poiskati posamezniku protipravnost. Seveda je to pomembna okoliščina, da tudi sami postopamo primerno, zasledujemo cilj primernega kaznovanja, primerne kaznovalne politike od posameznika do posameznika. Pravo je večkrat enoznačno, preveč preprosto, vendar bi rad povedal, glede na to, da sem v pravosodju že nekje 23-24 let, je dejansko moč ugotoviti, da je posebej zahtevno v posameznih primerih, ker vidiš, da se te do stvari dotaknejo, seveda se te dotaknejo, ker tudi sodnik in tožilec je osebnost, je človek in seveda to človečnost to humanističen odnos, pristop, to njegovo dozorenje po čustveni inteligenci, katera naj bi za ene predstavljala, da sodnik in tožilec ne moreš biti pred 30 letom, ker je tudi zakonski pogoj. Mislim, da ne vem, če je v Republiki Sloveniji, če v katerih drugih poklicih ravno spodnja meja določena, da lahko opravljaš nek poklic, se pričakuje, da ti čustveno dozoriš. Seveda je to vprašanje, posamezniki bi rekli, posamezniki nikdar čustveno ne dozorijo, posamezniki pa da. Seveda, in ves ta naš prispevek k pravni državi je ravno ta, da tudi odločamo v skladu z normami, v skladu z načeli, ki so nam podane, in seveda tudi prispevamo k razvoju stabilne pravne države, s katero ves čas nismo zadovoljni, in prav je tako, da smo kritični, da družbo gradimo na gradnikih, od katere zahtevamo vedno več, tudi laična javnost je prav, da je kritična, tudi ne samo do pravnikov, tudi do vseh ostalih, in tudi je. Na ta način se družba izgrajuje v boljše rodove in seveda tudi mi stremimo k temu, da izgradimo, tako kot bi rekel Kant, boljšo družbo, boljšo državo in seveda na ta način upravičimo naš obstoj, ki je enakovreden ostalim trem, torej ostalim dvem funkcijam, torej oblastem, zakonodajni in izvršni. Za na konec, glede na to, da mi že čas izteka, bi samo podal zaključek, ki gre v tej smeri. Ko so me vprašali, kaj je pravna država, sem povedal, pravna država se začne pri vseh nas. Pravna država se začne, ko se vsedete v avto in se ne pripasate, ali pa ste že v prekršku. Pravna država se začne pri vas in odraz naše države ste vi, ne samo mi na drugi strani. Torej vsak državljan v bistvu daje neko sporočilo, kakšna stopnja vladanja oziroma stanja v državi je, smo mi vsi posamezniki kot takšni v polisu, kot bi rekel Aristotel, kjer je tudi zapisal, da državo predstavljajo posamezniki in ne politiki. Hvala.
Thank you very much. Najlepša hvala, gospod Drago Šketa. Od pravne države se vračamo na humanizem, tako da se nam bo sedaj pridružil izredni profesor dr. Rok Svetlič. From legal state, we're back in the humanities, associate professor dr. Rok Svetlič. Izvolite.
Thank you very much. Dear professors, colleagues, friends, first I'd like to thank the organizer to give me opportunity to stand here. It is a great honor for me to be among those excellent speakers. In my contribution I will offer you some speculation on the relationship between religion and the state, democratic and secular state. This is nowadays quite exposed topic, although and on our territory it can be said at least a few hundred years this problem is solved. I can mention you just patent of tolerance from 1781. Of course, the reasons for new interest arise from phenomena of migrations. This is new circumstance and demand new response. At this stage, I would like to emphasize that I won't address this topic through the optic of so-called clash of civilization. This is just new situation and needs new response. That's all. I will start with optimistic attitude and say what is the problem for the politician is often the opportunity for the philosophy. I'm philosopher. in this case, opportunity to make it visible some fundament that right now is not quite visible. In this case, this is the process of reconciliation between state and religion, typical for our culture, and its immense meaning. This process starts on one hand from the side of the state. It's just enough to mention the Enlightenment movement. It starts from the other hand from the side of the Church, Reformation, or encyclic of Pacem in Terris in 20th century. First of all, the very foundation for this process provides famous principle, cuius regio est religio, that enabled this process of reconciliation. The end, the condensation of this process nowadays is the cognition that the secular state provides superior ethical standard in relation to the religion. To put it differently, the state puts the limits to the religion and not opposite. From this cognition follows two principles. First one is, it is the state that gives to the individual the right to the religion and to its expression. And secondly, this is often neglected, it is also the state that determines the content of that right. That determines what did this mean today to be religious person. It's not whatever it takes. It's not just repetition of the, let's take, feelings of somebody. It's not just repetition of the dogmatic of some religion. It might look strange at this, by this proposition, but if you look carefully, you will find also in our legal order numerous topics that are in collision with the dogmatic of Christianity. For instance, now we are in Europe mostly talking about the marriages between homosexual persons, but nobody would take this as violation of the religious feelings and so on. So according to my opinion, the main cause of the problem was concerning that relationship between state and the religion is departing from this second principle. To put it differently, today we take this right as bianco clause, just open space that must be filled with the feelings of somebody. We just had to ask the religious person about his feelings, attitudes, comprehensions, concepts, and without any alteration, cultivation, transmit it in social reality, and this declare it as human right. From this attitude follows a lot of the problems. A good illustration of the problem today is famous word integration. I'm fully aware that this topic is very complex, but on the other hand, I'm deeply convinced that the part of this problem is also, for instance, the circumstance that the father of the child rejects to shake the hand of the teacher of his child because this teacher is a woman. He's from Ljubljana. Without sharing at least most basic common value platform, integration is impossible. I will give you another example to avoid the impression that I'm talking about clash of civilization. This example has nothing to do with religion. In Slovenia, a few years ago, died tragically one child due to the poor nutrition. His parents had specific attitude toward nutrition of the child. It was based mostly on the fruits, on the apples, and so on. Immediate cause of the death of the child was the infection, but the doctor said frankly, this child was starved to death. Just analogous example. Old right faced with new circumstances. Result is bianco clause, untouchable zone. Nobody has to right to intervene in the content of some specific right. Otherwise, it would be deemed as fascism or some repression of the state and so on. I think the most basic misunderstanding that caused these problems is misunderstanding about the concept of the state. Every state based on distinction between the citizens and the foreigner, what resembles very much on the distinction between us and them. This is very sensible distinction since the totalitarianism of 20th century, for instance, fascism and Nazism, departs from we, nation. And this we was exaggerated, degenerated to the extreme, and the result was the casualties of millions in 20th century. It seems that some remedy for this bad consciousness is imperative and total passivity of the state. Bianco clause. Just ask the person what he thinks, and this should be declared as a right. Well, I would like to show right now that this is severe misunderstanding. The base of our state is not we, or nation, as the owner of the state, we Slovene, we Italian, we Austrian, but on contrary, it is in the base, it is a complex theoretical concept called general will, volonté générale. It was addressed also partly by Professor Marga, who was talking about this topic in previous speech. First of all, general will is not empirical concept, it's theoretical concept. I'll give you an example to illustrate that. Just imagine some human right, for instance, prohibition of discrimination on the basis of race or gender and so on. If you think better, did we accept, we as nation or the voters, accept this provision? It is an emanation of our will. If we would answer affirmatively, that would mean that we can also change it or remove it. For instance, we could introduce apartheid, what is obviously nonsense. Human rights are the part of general will that has validity per se, German an sich. Maybe one could argue that I give you bad example. And let's go to very heart of every parliamentarian democracy, election. It seems on the first glance that this is the place where we have some important role. We are choosing the deputies, we are supporting of the political programs and so on and so on. But if you look closer, also here there is no arbitrarity. The state has numerous laws, statutes, constitution that regulate the election. The content of political program can't be whatsoever. It is regulated, otherwise the Constitutional Court would intervene in such a process. To put it shortly, our culture is a result of historical development with very important shifts starting, for instance, freedom of consciousness introduced by Luther, or Cartesian subject, or autonomy of practical reason by Kant, and so on. And this is our culture. This is Volonté générale. Hegel called it sittliche Substanz. In this aspect, we are just the manager of this substance. We receive it, we develop it respectfully further, and one day we will hand it over to future generation. Martin Heidegger says a man is not a master of a being, he is her herdsman. So we saw there is no nation as an owner of the state. We are just the manager of some culture that we receive it. And furthermore, there is no bianco situation. So we can say it without bad consciousness. Our culture is secular culture with enlightenment value platform. From this follows, I repeat from the beginning, the very existence of the right on religion, and secondly, the answer how to determine the content of that religion. What does it mean to be a religious person within secular society? It is simply not the repetition of dogmatic of some religion. It is not just repetition of the feeling of some religious person. Or mutatis mutandis, it determines what this means a right to raise the children. It is not total arbitrary. It follows from general will that determines the content of this right. And on this horizon, it must be put also the answer like it is, you have no right to be insulted by the fact that the teacher of your child is a woman. This insult is not recognized in this culture. This is your problem. You have to deal with it on your own. Also, this holds good also for any collision with another confession and secular order of European platform. Let me summarize. I offered you just a hermeneutical framework to approach the new problems on the field of relationship between religion and the state. It's not a magical tool. It demands a lot of work, interpretation, and so on. But I insist it is necessary to use classical tools for deal with the human rights. Mr. Šketa just mentioned the searching for the balance. But in order to search for the balance, you have to answer what some right is before put it on the scale. If we treat some right as a bianco clause, it has no sense to put it on the scale since it is always overweight. I started with the claim that philosophy, task of philosophy is to make it visible, the thing. It's no coincidence that the Greek word for the truth was aletheia, unconcealment. So, dear colleagues, I hope I have unconcealed at least a part, at least a fragment of the relationship between religion and the state, democratic and secular state. Thank you very much for your attention.
Najlepša hvala. Thank you very much.
Gospod dr. Setlič, thank you very much. Kot vidite, smo tudi letos zelo mednarodni, videli smo že kar nekaj ambasadorjev, so we are very international this conference, we've seen a lot of ambassadors so far, and the next one will be on the podium in a few minutes. We are moving on to international cooperation, so I'll kindly ask His Excellency Mr. Paramjit Man, Ambassador of India, to address the audience on the topic of integrative health sciences. Torej, naša mednarodnost seveda ne pozna meja. Njegova ekscelenca, gospod Paramjit Man, veleposlanik Indije, vam bo na kratko predstavil prihodnja pričakovanja in mednarodno sodelovanje na področju Ayurvede.
Thank you. It will be a change of topic. I am coming from a totally different culture. So it's very distant in geographically, and I think even conceptually it's reasonably different from here. So, Honorable President and dear colleagues, Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, and as we say in India, bhaiyo or behno, which basically means brothers and sisters of Slovenia, namaskar, that is the Indian greeting. The topic I have been given is Ayurveda and plural medicine. I don't know how many of you know about or even heard about Ayurveda. Well, okay, a few, most of them. So for the people who have no idea what I am talking about, let me first tell you that Ayurveda is name for an ancient traditional Indian medical system. It's called Ayurveda. It took birth somewhere around 3,000 years back. We worked on it for next 1,000 years. 2,000 years back it was crystallized. And so it's a long history. It's a long history, and for a layman, which some experts, there are here experts on Ayurveda, they will differ, but in a very, very extremely general terms, it identifies pith, kapha, three elements in the human body, three humors as they used to call it, and the imbalance of those humors causes disease, and the idea behind Ayurveda is to balance the humors in the human body, and diseases come because of the imbalance, and you remove the imbalance and the diseases go away. That's in a very layman's term is the basic thesis of Ayurveda. Of course, it's much more complicated. It has taken centuries to develop. It's not pure mumbo jumbo. It's a distilled, filtered, practiced, evidence-based medical system of our civilization. Now, if civilization, however far away it may be, if it is 5,000 years old and has 1 billion people, and it says it works, I think it deserves a good look that what is it which works for 1 billion people for so many centuries. So that is Ayurveda. I think I am of the opinion that any information which can be Googled should never become part of the speech. So I won't tell you more about Ayurveda. You can simply Google it or read the Wikipedia article. That will give you more information at your leisure whenever you want it. Now this plural medical system is the second part of my topic. As far as India is concerned, we are plural in every term you can think of, whether it is religion, whether it is languages, or it is culture, or it is dance, or it is cuisine. Even in medical, we actually have a ministry, separate ministry, which takes care of Ayurveda medical system, of yoga, of Unani medical system, which is from Greece, which we took it from Greece in ancient times, of Siddha medical system, which is the South Indian medical system, and also homeopathy, as well as naturopathy. So in medical system, if any country can be plural, India will definitely qualify for that. For any medical system, you need verification, you need educational institution, qualified manpower, verification of the medicines. So we are, let's say today there would be roughly around 700,000 practitioners of traditional medicine in India. 700,000, and in 1 year, roughly 50,000 doctors qualify in Ayurveda. We have more than 23 universities and institutions which are working on research, clinical trials, making pharmacopoeias, gathering traditional knowledge. Now this roughly is the introduction to what is happening in India, and the idea being that these traditional funds of knowledge should become useful to everybody. It's like it says, it's all about people. So the idea is how to integrate this vast fund of knowledge into, so to say, the allopathic system or the Western medical system, although I don't want to categorize any system by name, because I think that restricts the whole effect of the system. But idea behind Ayurveda, me talking about it and talking about plural medicine, is to integrate these vast funds of traditional knowledge which is been gathered over the centuries with the current Western medical system, so that the maximum benefit of good health comes to everybody. That's in a nutshell is the idea. I will try to keep my hosts happy by keeping my speech very short. So I will just now quickly move over to the next thought which I want to leave behind, is that whatever I have said is all very nice, but frankly, antiquity does not justify, does not validate any knowledge. So just because it is old, it does not mean it is true. Nor does the following of 1 billion people makes it true. I mean, any number of people can be mistaken. The only true test of any medical system is the efficacy, whether it works or it does not work. And that is why I come to my next thought. This talk about alternate medicine, I think we should change the pattern of our thought and perhaps a little bit of vocabulary. There is nothing called alternate medicine. I mean, if a doctor gives me a particular antibiotics for my infection, that is the antibiotic. It is not an alternate antibiotics. If a medicine works, it is the medicine. Correct. Medicines can be either correct or incorrect. Medicines can be either ineffective or effective. The word medicine means something which cures. So if something from Ayurvedic system cures, it's not alternate medicine, it is the medicine. Similarly, if something from Unani medicine cures, it's not traditional medicine, it's not alternate medicine, it is the medicine which you require. So the basic fundamental test should be not to name it and pigeonhole it, not to treat it as a, let's say, a sidey, indulgent manner that, okay, if you insist, we will include a little bit of your system. All right, we will perhaps, after the operation in post-care, we will do a little bit of yoga, happy. Or prevention of medicine, we will go by your dieting. No, that's not the issue. Issue here is what works. We have this fund of knowledge. Other countries also in the East have this fund of knowledge. Question is the West ready to share it? We are ready to share it. It is not a question, these systems are not competitive, they are not rivals. No system is trying to replace allopathy. It's not a question that one system says that the other system should not exist. It's only a question of integration. So I really would say that rather than saying traditional medicine, alternate medicine, I think we should talk about not plural but a universal medical system. The goal is the same, to provide good health to the people. And if things work, you integrate them, and that becomes a one single universal medical system. There's no need for plural medical systems. I mean, you need one which works. And whatever Ayurveda or any other medicine system we have, it is there, the knowledge is there, it needs to be verified. Maybe when the scientific revolution took place in the West, maybe some of these systems missed the bus. They did not go through the same verification. They did not go through the same clinical trials which the West was doing for the allopathy. But that does not mean that they don't work. So what is required is a serious look, a kind of research with seriousness, not as an adjunct. They are legitimate medical systems and they should be treated in that manner. And this is, we have a very old saying, Sanskrit shloka, which says, Vay karte vardhana nityam vidya dharmam sarva dhanam pradhanam, which basically means that knowledge is one form of wealth. It is the supreme form of wealth because more you share, more it increases. So here is this fund of knowledge. The Ayurveda and other systems are not looking for indulgence, they are not looking for recognition, they are looking for sharing of the knowledge. So, and knowledge shared increases. So this one thought I would leave with you, I would leave to you to Google on Ayurveda and find out what it is, have a look. I will leave it to your spare time whenever you can. Have a look at any other medical system which is called alternate system and have a look. Keep an open mind. Put it through your rigorous research, put it through your verification. If it works, fine, take it out and adopt it. If it doesn't work, then it is not worth calling medicine in any case. So give it a serious thought. My total aim is to tell you, okay, here is Ayurveda. It says this. You make it go through your research and verification. 3, if it works, you are welcome to adopt it. We are not charging for it. So, with the hope that this will become a sharing of knowledge, with the hope that this sharing of knowledge, the total amount of knowledge will increase, with the hope that that increased total amount of knowledge will result in better health for human beings, which is our goal. I will leave you with that thought. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Ambassador of India, Mr. Paramjit Man. Nadaljujemo v zdravstvenem področju. I would now kindly ask the 5 keynote speakers who are already finished to leave the podium, but Professor Rossi, will you please stay here? Because we'll continue now with the legacy of Dr. Semmelweis. So while the 5 gentlemen leave, I will ask Professor Unger, Professor Toplak, Professor Vlies, and Her Excellency, the Ambassador of Hungary, Mrs. Edith Batorfi, to join me on stage. Nadaljujemo z glavno vsebino drugega dela našega plenarnega srečanja, zasedanja, in sicer z poslanstvom doktorja Zemljvajsa. Zato prosim, da se mi na odru pridružijo profesor Unger, profesor Toplak, spoštovana veleposlanica gospa Edith Batorfi in pa profesor dr. Vojko Flis, direktor Univerzitetnega kliničnega centra Maribor. We'll ask the ambassador just to give us a few words of introduction, because the government of Hungary, which she is a representative of, has given us a very precious gift. So we want to hear about this decision first, before we continue with Dr. Zemljvajs, provided by Dr. Rosival. Torej, mađarska vlada nam je dala veliko darilo in v imenu mađarske vlade cenjena gospa veleposlanica Edith Batorfi na kratko o tem, kaj to pomeni za nas. Boste slovensko pa jaz prevedem v angleščino, or would you do it in English? Perfect, thank you very much.
Dobar dan. I would make it in English. It's still a bit easier for me than in Slovene. So, dear Mr. President Toplak, dear Mr. President Unger, dear professors, dear students, excellencies, this is a great honor for me to be here and on such a special occasion. Not only because of the possibility to have some Hungarian contribution to Maribor, to the scientific area of this town, but to participate and to be able to listen to the conference today. I mean, everything around people, all about people. It's a great theme for this conference, and I just can congratulate to select this interdisciplinary approach in a current time, in a very, very demanding time. We are quite close to a situation that we won't be able to manage ourselves. The artificial intelligence is developing extremely quickly and with a strong specialization. If we are not good enough to look into the details of other professions, we won't be able to manage the systems. The big data provides already challenges of data security and privacy, or rights to privacy. Concerning the artificial intelligence, let me just quote one thing, and that's already concerning the program which is in the university Alma Mater Europea, Science and Art. In Slovenia, the Academy of Science and Art is one body. In Hungary, there are two academies. Now we have very excellent communication and cooperation between the two institutions in Hungary and in Slovenia. But it is extremely important to know that we were considering that science is very far from the art, and artificial intelligence would not be creative enough to interfere in the area of art. I have to tell you, I got just the news a couple of weeks ago that software, which was a chat box designed to communicate with people in psychological need in urgent situations, created out of these communications with human beings a poem. So software is not only learning, but creating art. I think this is a completely new perspective, and just to take another example from the techniques, like we all know this pretty nice thing, the drones which are flying all around. Our engineers are developing these tools very quickly. They are perfect, and we are just catching up with the legal framework to create security and to get the consequences of our innovative attitude. What shall we do now? Shall we resign of the future? Shall we resign and get back? I don't think so. And that's why I'm really glad that this conference is taking place today, because we have now the chance to have a discussion on ways, methods, and ideas we have to share and we have to discuss in order to find the proper balance for the future development. But it was not easy, but it is not easy only for the future, it wasn't easy in the past as well. And now I would like to mention the reason I'm actually today here, the Hungarian doctor, an outstanding professionalist, Ignác Semmelweis. We are celebrating in 2008 the 200th anniversary of his birth. He is called in Hungary and all over the world as a savior of mothers. In his time, young mothers were, and I think Mr. Professor will tell about this more in detail, were afraid to go into the hospitals because they were simply dying there. They could not find a reason for that. Semmelweis was a unique thinker who, using a completely, that time, new method, the statistics, discovered the reason of this problem and find a solution. But he wasn't accepted for this outstanding result. He was excommunicated at that time. And I think this is a very important legacy. We have to be aware of our mission. We have to find solutions and keep to the right and keep to the flag up until we come to the final point. After his death, several decades, his method has become general and overall accepted. So that means this is a very huge, let's say, legacy which we have to keep up. And because of this, actually, the year of 2018 that has been already set by the opening of the exhibition has been declared by the Hungarian government the year of Semmelweis Memorial Year. We will have a number of events commemorating him in Hungary and abroad, and I'm extremely pleased that we are able to honor his memory in Slovenia, and actually this is the first place we will have a bust of him. The place where his bust is going to be placed is the entrance of the University Medical Center Maribor. I know that the legacy of Ignác Semmelweis is well known in Slovenia, especially in the medical community. And I have to refer to an exhibition we had some years ago where I had so many positive reflections from the medical community of Slovenia in address of Ignác Semmelweis. But still, he is less known for the public, and I'm glad that the statue dispersed will remind the people who are going around his work, his legacy, and his attitude to humanity. And I hope it will also symbol one thing more, the excellent relations between our two countries and our people, and our openness to each other and each other's values and heritage. Allow me also to take this opportunity to thank Alma Mater Europea and University Medical Center Maribor for their willingness to accept the boost and participate the erection. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much to the Ambassador. Thank you very much. Please stay here for the photo moment later on. We will now sign the festive agreement, protocol on cooperation at the project European University Bridges. So all four representatives, Professor Toplak for Alma Mater Europea, Professor Unger for the European Academy of Sciences and Arts, Professor Dr. Vojko Flis for the University Medical Center, where the bus will be positioned, and of course Professor Dr. Rosival as the President of the Semmelweis Memorial Committee. Okay. One more. Yeah. That's ready. So all four agreements are signed. Vsi štirje dogovori, protokoli so podpisani. Raise, please, for a photo opportunity. And another exchange with Professor Rosival. Okay, thank you very much. Professor Toplak.
Your Excellency, Professor Roosevelt,
Please stay here.
thank you very much. We are very honored to be among the universities, highly representative universities in the world, who have been honored by sculpture of Ignaz Semmelweis, doctor and humanist, and we are very proud of it. We would like to promote his mission as well at the Maribor University Clinical Center. That is our main academic and research and educational partner. Thank you very much.
Tako v čast podelitve doprsnega kipa dr. Ignaca Semmelweisa še enkrat predstavniki madžarske vlade, Madžarske univerze Semmelweis in Alma Mater Europaea. Thank you very much. Her Excellency is allowed to return down. The professors stay up here. Yeah, please.
Ladies
A
and gentlemen,
short remark.
Ladies and gentlemen, first I have to confess that I'm very happy that we have signing the contract, and with the name Semmelweis, it's always reminding me of problems in the academic world. Semmelweis was indeed a pioneer and made his work in a proper way. But his colleagues at the faculty did not understand him, and they offended him very, very much. And it has taken a long time until it has been accepted to the benefit of all the women. And I was saying this as a small remark, because we face those problems in our everyday life. When I take Alma Mater in account, how Alma Mater has been offended by the public university. It's the same mechanism in our academic brains to block immediately. And therefore I think it's very good to remind such pioneers that we have to open our mind, to open our souls, to reach new areas for the benefit of men. Congratulations.
Thank you very much, Professor Unger. Finally, Professor Roosevelt talking about the legacy of Dr. Semmelweis. The young assistant will help you. Okay.
Presidents, Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, my fellow young friends. Everyone was talking about Semmelweis, and that's very appropriate because we are just celebrating the 200 years anniversary of his birth. And I think that Semmelweis' life is a lesson for all of us, so it's very appropriate to talk about that. Should we talk about 200 years ago? Should we talk about the past, as your president, Slovenian president, already give a picture on the future, that whatever you learn, you won't use it later on? Then why we are talking about? Is it just playing around, or it's an old professor's idea to talk about Semmelweis? No. You will recognize that what's coming out from his life is a very important message, and future is always based on the past, and you can learn from the past a lot. So who was Semmelweis? Semmelweis was a medical doctor, a surgery, master of obstetrics, and a professor at the university in Pest. As we already heard, the savior of the mothers. But how it happens? What is the true story which is so exciting and so interesting? He was born in 1818, and when he get to Vienna, to the university, that time when he finished his studies, he immediately recognized that in the gynecology there is something very wrong. What's wrong? It's very wrong because the ladies who is going in a healthy shape into the hospitals, the death rate during the delivery of the baby in hospitals is about 25–30%. Can you imagine that at home there was everything is all right, when someone went to the hospital, they just died every third mother. And then he recognized what is the cause, and then he even made a prevention. So UNESCO decided 3 years ago to put all of his scientific papers into the memorial book, so forever it's in archive of the UNESCO and people can read it. If you're coming to Budapest, his house is still there where he was born, and right now he's a Semmelweis Museum, so please come and see it. He finished the MD degree in 1844, and he had the discovery after 3 years. He was just 29, and he died very early in 65 when he was 47. What was his research work? He told what he is writing here in his own words. He recognized from the very first moment that what the knowledge on the puerperal fever, in that time it was just not enough. You can read it if you want. But puerperal fever was a disease only in Vienna, only from the 19th century? No. It had been already recognized by Hippocrates, by Gallienus, Avicenna, and all of these great medical doctors from all over the world. But they didn't care too much because it was very rare. But why it got so frequent in the 19th century? Because the Industrial Revolution. The Industrial Revolution, big towns, people moved to the towns, big hospitals was built, and the people who couldn't get a midwife at home, they just went to the hospitals and delivered the baby. But it was crowded, it was huge, and there was new problems that they lived together in a closed area, which was a new challenge. Here is the hospital that we are talking about, and coincidentally, it's a historically interesting that how the coincidence can play a role in the scientific discovery. Coincidentally, in that huge hospital, there was two wards, gynecology wards, 1 and 2, and there was sharing the education. One taught or teach the medical doctors, and the other is the midwives. And Semmelweis wrote later on that in both wards there was about 3,000 patients during that period that he studied. And during this period, in the second department, the death was only 60, while in the department first, it was 600, 10 times more, and that made them very sad, and in a way, it was a very difficult situation. Can you imagine that you are a conscious, well-educated doctors, and you just see that in the other room, they're not dying, you do everything, and in your side, everyone is dying. He wrote even, everything was in question, everything seemed unclear, everything was doubtful, only the number of decrees remained undoubtedly steady. So it was almost a burnout. He wanted to make even suicide, because if you have a conscience and you do everything what you want and people are dying in your hand, you have to find out what is the reason. But they just couldn't. But what was the idea? What was the pathophysiological knowledge that time about puerperal fever? Well, many different things. They saw that it's a retention of placenta or lochia, febris lochialis, milk theory. Milk have been produced and pushed on to the pelvis, or phlogistic theory, inflammation, too much inflammation, or people even thought that it's just the ladies, the poor ladies who are coming to the hospital and not rich enough to being at home, they're just too much exhausted. And it's even worse, don't laugh at that, but these poor ladies who are exhausted, they're having more sex, because that time a lot of people thought that to make sex is dangerous for your life. And it's even more interesting that because in this war there was so much death, the priests come for the last visit with the bell, and some of the people, some of the medical doctors even thought that maybe that these poor ladies are so exhausted and in shock, and they get even more shock when the bell is coming, and they just get in shock and die. So sexual enjoyment or ring or whatever, but pioneer of epidemiology, Semmelweis, a young Hungarian, came to Vienna and told the old professor to Klein that we should use the numbers. And they thought, you shouldn't, because everyone knew that to make a little better picture, because the people were afraid to come to the ward number 1, so sometimes before someone is died, they just push to the other ward, other part, to avoid the bad statistics. So everyone knew that, well, it's a little cheating as always in the world. So people said that statistics doesn't really a good idea. But Semmelweis was insisting on that if you are using statistics back to 10, 15 years, thousands and thousands of numbers, a little cheating wouldn't really abolish the quality, the power of these numbers, and you can find out. So one way, please open your brain, soul, and enjoy it, and listen. So on one way, he used the statistics, so he was a pioneer of the epidemiology. On other hand, that time, Skoda and other big guys from Prague came to Vienna, and it was a very nice idea to have autopsy to find out what would be the real causal therapy, which was a little bit difficult, because that meant that you first have to die, you have to get the biopsy, and then you find out the treatment for the guy who already died. But the autopsy is certainly. He did so much calculation and so much statistics, and he recognized that no climatic condition can be different in 2 different rooms, no telluric difference can be there, no ringing, because he asked personally the priest to stop the ringing. So not ringing is not a general epidemia, it should be just an endemia. And then he went to a holiday, and this was for 1847. It's a very interesting story that he had a good friend, Kolečka, who was also a pathologist, who made biopsy, and during his biopsy working, one of the students cut the teacher's fingers, and the guy got an infection, and Kolečka died. But when Semmelweis came home to Vienna after his holiday, he got the bad news that Kolečka died. And he was asking what was the reason how he died, and he is writing the following thing: due to my excitation over Kolečka death, the recognition rushed into my mind with uncontrollable force, because he asked what was the story and how autopsy looked like, and he recognized that Kolečka autopsy showed exactly the same symptoms as the ladies who are dying for puerperal fever. So he recognized that, well, it's cadaver toxin, cadaver per septicemia is what causing the death. But how it could happen that in one ward it was high, other ward is low? Well, in the second department, the midwives was taught, and midwives didn't do autopsy. But where Semmelweis worked, there was the student taught, and they made the autopsy and carried from the autopsy to the vaginal examination this kind of cadaver parts. It's always interesting, you know, just was in philosophy and things like that, talking about how the people behaving. It immediately, some of the people thought that why is so high the death rate in the ward number 1? Because there are a lot of foreigners, and the foreigner students are so rough to the ladies, not like the Austrian or others. So it is always everywhere. But he was not only, you know, the great scientist, always looking for the cause, finding the cause, and then try to solve the problem. So he immediately solved the problem and ordered hand washing with chlorinal liquid. And within 3 months, it happened in May, and see, in July, instead of 30 or 25% death rate, it went almost to 1%. You would think that if someone who is working there, seeing this number, he is already convinced. There is no other way around, that who done it and who recognize it is right. But before we make the story continue, we should ask, as Semmelweis also asked, that in Vienna, which is a famous hospital, very educated, dedicated doctors, they didn't wash their hand. Is it possible, and it is realistic to think that they didn't wash their hand when, for instance, in Hungary in 1818, there was published a small booklet for the midwives, and saying that in case of the mother has a contagious illness, the midwife must cover her hands with fresh oil, butter or lard before birth, and after birth wash them with water containing ash, then alkaline water, and finally soapy water. After that, she may go on to the next mother. So everyone knew, I mean, ritual hand washing from thousands and thousands years in the Bibles and everywhere. So why or how it happened that in Vienna people didn't wash their hand? Well, they washed. But the school in Vienna, as Semmelweis states, prepares the student with many autopsies for high standards. They washed their hands. However, the bad odor of their hands revealed that the hand washing was not effective. I just looked around the Semmelweis University as a past rector during the last couple of years, and I noticed that even nowadays, many doctors going during the teaching course from one bed to the other or one room to the other without washing their hands. So this kind invisibly odorous parts of the cadaver were transported to the vagina during the obstetric examination. But if you think, well, it is over, it was 200 or 150 years ago, it's not over. Non-compliance with hand hygiene guidelines remains a collective challenge, saying an American journal, which is very, very high, having a high impact factor, very prestigious paper. And if you go to the PubMed or whatever, you can recognize that every year there are big, huge studies, and you can recognize the surgery department time to time need to close down because of the infection which people cannot avoid. It's even worse. In Hungary, 10% of the people who are coming to the hospitals acquiring some kind of bad side effect, and that's why we just announced for this year that the patient safetiness can be a very important question. But if you think that Hungary, well, it's beyond the iron curtain or whatever, it's United States is the same. In Germany it's the same. So this number is everywhere it's the same. 10%. And most of them are the infection, and they really get a high death rate among them still. So, what was the results of the big discovery? A worldwide recognition? No, it was only late, but it was an immediate throwing out from the hospital, a dismissal immediately. But before he came to Budapest, he did some even more, and it's very important. Sorry, not Budapest, just Pest. Budapest just unified in 1873, so it's that time it was separated. So before he left Vienna, he even did animal experiments. So according to my knowledge, I am not a historian, but according to my knowledge, he was the first who established the clinical pathophysiology on a way that he take rabbits, and after delivery of the babies, he took in his hand different cadaver toxins or whatever infected materials, and just put into the vagina, and he recognized that all the animals died exactly on the same way as the mother before. So then he came to Pest side, and in Pest, in Rókus courthouse, when he started, he was able to push down even the death rate below 1%. And then he had been nominated professor of the university, but don't believe that the professors elected him. He was pushed to be there by the king. It's an amazing story that the professors didn't want to elect him. And his successor in our university, he didn't let the people after Semmelweis that even to mention the name of Semmelweis for years. But why it is so when everything was so clear? Well, we don't know exactly, but there is some disturbing conditions, like his illness and death. You know, in the left picture, he's constipating. You know, that time the painting was very characteristic and very careful because there was no photograph, so it's probably he really looked like in this picture. And the right is a photograph, and between there is just 7 years difference, but in 64, 1 year before his death, he was already an old man. So something is changed, so something was difficult with him. And yes, it had been proven that he had a syphilis, and he could properly do his work, everyday work, but he started to behave a little bit differently. And it's also interesting then when he died in Vienna, his autopsy showed a lot of different injury, infections, and so there was a lot of saying about what really happened. We don't know, but we certainly know that from the brain syphilis, he would have die anyway, whatever was the real cause of the death, directly. But what happened with the family and the Hungarian everywhere? Family changed his name. So the Semmelweis family got Semerady and others, concealment of his doctrines, concealment of his hospital records. Can you imagine that researchers, historians who wanted to know what happened, they went to Vienna, asked for the autopsy report, and it was told for 112 years that is not existing. That's the archive. But it's in 1977, the third generation of the manager of this given hospital, he changed his thought, and by mail, he just posted to someone the report, but it doesn't really help too much because there is a lot of handwriting with different inks, and 112 years is elapsed and we don't know whether it's the original changes or notices or it's just during the time. So, well, it's interesting that Semmelweis managed to beat the disease but didn't succeed to convincing the age. And this is a true story that Lister, everyone knows who is Lister, was ill even 40 years after Semmelweis' thesis. He went to the surgery, not even washing hands, but using a lot of carbolic acid. Or it's another one, everyone knows who is Virchow. Virchow came to Budapest in 1858. Semmelweis still was alive, and we already in 47 announced his thesis. And Virchow still had in our academy a talk that the puerperal fever reason is just the stress, the neural alteration, the milk secretion, and no Hungarian professors or doctors stood up saying that, well, there was a Semmelweis. Many obstetrics claimed their expression do not support Semmelweis observation during the next couple of decades, and some people thought it's so simple that it shouldn't be true. But there are even obstetricians who made suicide when he recognized, he believed Semmelweis, and he recognized that he killed so many patients. So deificationist came later on, and in Chicago Museum, 12 most innovative person in health management, 1 out of the 12 is Semmelweis, and this is a Semmelweis so-called chalice, which is have been made in 1906 in Hungary by the Hungarian medical doctors, and then it's disappeared. And for the last, when we celebrated the 150th anniversary of his death, I asked the guy who were hammered a plate of the silver 455 hours to get this chalice formed. So we reproduced by hand this old technique, and then I have it's a very short, I am finishing because I see that you are getting a little bit excited, but I am a professor in Tehran too, and some professors from Tehran came to Hungary that year, and with the state secretary we have a discussion, and there was, just in my mind, I asked them, do you know who is Semmelweis? And looked around, these professors from Tehran, and, oh yes, we know. And I asked them, do you have a statue on Semmelweis? They looked around, no, they got red, and you know I'm a Hungarian, Augsburg, and shame on you, I told them. And I was even ashamed myself a little bit, but 1 month later they called me, well, professor, if you help us, we can make a statue and celebrate it. And I helped them, and it was inaugurated by Viktor Orban, our prime minister, in that year, and it was a big success. So this was the first, but it's not, you have the first statue for the 200 years anniversary, because this was the 150 years anniversary of his death. So now I'm just, the new term, please remember that the message, it is in this term. A new term in Anglo-Saxon countries, Semmelweis reflex. It's not a neural reflex like this. It's a reflex that someone is saying something new, and you are immediately saying no. When you say that that's stupid, well, it's questionable, because if you would believe everything when someone is coming with new idea, that would be dangerous. But if you know the science education, and if you know all about the people, then you can recognize what is important and what not. So Semmelweis, what I am just finishing for the teachers of my teaching are for the teachers of medical sciences, disseminate for the practitioners and nurses to follow, to rescue the wife for the husband, the mother for her child. Thank you very much. And finally, one sentence. I just accepted a visit from Ray Lustig, who is a 35 years young composer from New York, and he composed a whole new contemporary art opera on Semmelweis. We are just going to have the premiere next month in Budapest and later on in Vienna, I guess. Thank you very much for attention.
Thank you very much. Najlepša hvala, dr. Laszlo Rosival. Thank you. Prišli smo skoraj čist do konca današnjega srečanja, samo še 3 podpisi slavnostnih pogodb, oziroma slavnostni podpisi pogodb o sodelovanju. We've come almost to the end of our today's plenary session. What follows are 3 more signatures of cooperation agreements. So I would kindly ask the Russian delegation to join me first. Dr. Nikolai Konyaev, Mr. Oleg Kalinin, Madam Elena Romanova, to join me on stage for festive signing, and of course Professor Unger and Professor Toplak to sign this as well. Če lahko samo dr. Flisu date tisto podpisno mapo zadaj. Okay. Mr. Konyaev will sign, Professor Unger will sign, and Professor Toplak will sign. And the ladies will join me, our students. We don't have time, so just tell whatever, because we are... No, because we are already 1 hour delayed. Okay, ladies? There you go. So Mr. Nikolai Konyaev is director of the All-Russian Scientific and Research Institutes of Records and Archives Management from Moscow. We're signing a cooperation agreement to cooperate on different projects, do research projects, and undertake some cooperation in the field of academic exchange, teacher exchange, and student exchange. And once the agreements are signed, would you please then stand up and take a group picture for the archives, which, as we saw today, are very, very important. Thank you very much to all of the signatories. Thank you very much to the Russian delegation. Do we have anybody else from the Russian embassy sitting in the room? Yes, please, would you join us for the festive photo? So festive photo also with the representative of the Russian embassy. Okay. Well, thank you very much. The Russian delegation, if the Russian delegation could please return. Professor Unger stays, Professor Toplak stays. We continue with the festive signing of the cooperation agreement with Bangkok, Thailand. So I would like to ask the Dean of the University College of the Thai Chamber of Commerce, Dr. Jakarin Srimun, and His Excellency, the Ambassador of Thailand, to join us for the next festive signing of agreements. Mr. Konyaev, perhaps just 2 sentences. Mrs. Romanova for translation. But really briefly, because we are already delayed by 1 hour.
Уважаемые дамы и господа участники, гости конференции, разрешите выразить искреннюю признательность от коллектива Всероссийского научно-исследовательского института документоведения и архивного дела, организатором 6-й международной конференции Университета Альма-Матер Европы.
Dear ladies and gentlemen, participants and guests of the conference, first of all, I would like to express my sincere gratitude to the organizers of the 6th International Conference of the University Alma Mater Europea on behalf of the All Russian Research Institute for Records and Archives Management.
Хочется отметить, что в этом году Архивная служба России празднует свой 100-летний юбилей. Особой честью для нас в этом юбилейном году будет установление сотрудничества с Университетом Альма-Матер Европа и Европейской академией науки и искусства.
This year, the Archival Service of Russia as an institution celebrates its 100th anniversary. This Jubilee year, it's really the very special honor for us to establish cooperation with the University Alma Mater Europea and the European Academy of Sciences and Arts.
Большая признательность профессору доктору Топлаку и профессору Унгеру за внимание и интерес к нашей работе. В условиях стремительного развития информационных технологий, расширения цифрового пространства, сегодня весь мир сталкивается с общими проблемами необходимости защиты информации, регулирования вопросов информационной безопасности, обеспечения общественного доверия к электронным ресурсам.
I would like to express my gratitude to Professor Felix Unger, the President of the European Academy of Sciences and Arts, and to Professor Ludwig Toplak, the President of the University Alma Mater Europea. In conditions of prompt development of information technologies, extension and expansion of a digital environment, the whole world today meets the common problems of the necessity of protection of information, information security, the necessity to ensure the social trust to e-records and information resources.
Эти вопросы рационально решать путем тесного взаимодействия ученых из разных стран, специалистов в области информационных технологий, юристов, экономистов, архивистов и других специалистов.
These questions need to be resolved by common efforts of specialists from different countries, specialized in different fields, IT specialists, lawyers, economists, archivists, and many others.
В качестве нового участника конференции мы рассчитываем найти это взаимодействие в рамках договоров о нашем сотрудничестве, а также установить профессиональные контакты с коллегами из разных стран. Спасибо за ваше внимание.
As a new participant of the conference, we hope to find this interaction within the frames of the agreements which were signed today, and besides to make professional, friendly contacts with our foreign colleagues. Thank you very much for your attention. We have special presents to commemorate our friendship.
Okay, thank you very much, spasiba, to the Russian delegation. Let's continue now with the festive signing of cooperation agreements and memorandum of understanding with the University of the Thai Chamber of Commerce, as already suggested. Dr. Jakarin Srimun in the function of the Dean of the university, and of course with the presence of His Excellency, the Ambassador of Thailand to Vienna and the United Nations, Mr. Songsak Saichua. Ladies, could you please bring the memorandums of understanding? Yeah. Do we have 4 signatories or just 3? 3, okay. Yeah. Just to follow up on it, we have started cooperation with Thailand a few years ago. So far it has gone in this direction from Slovenia to Thailand, but now we are hosting, during this International Staff Week, Professor Dr. Jakarin Srimun as a guest professor for the programs of Environmental Sciences, Management and Social Gerontology, and he will hold additional guest lectures for these students. So we're glad for having the chance to establish this cooperation and look forward to a lot of new joint ventures with the University of the Thai Chamber of Commerce. Some of them might focus on summer schools, winter schools, basically just bringing students from Southeast Asia to Europe, and of course vice versa. Thank you very much to all the signatories. Now, Thailand is a country of 77 million people. We are tiny, 2 million people here, but we hope to have fruitful cooperation with them. Well, if perhaps Your Excellency, just a sentence or two to greet the audience, a very brief one, and also Dr. Jakarin Srimun, a really brief sentence. Professor Unger? Yes, yes.
President Unger, President Toplak, and
so if you want to just say a few
Excellencies, Professor, distinguished participants, the signing today between University of Chamber of Commerce of Thailand and Alma Mater Europea is a first starting point of the cooperation between Thailand and Slovenia in terms of education. So we have a great opportunities and potential in Thailand. There are also a lot more universities. Now we are moving towards science, technology and innovation, including education, as well as science education, including in the area of medical technology and medical doctor. Professor Unger mentioned the Far East, Japan, China, and Singapore. So I would like to take this opportunity to invite Professor Toplak and Professor Unger to visit Thailand. We also quite well advanced in terms of medical technology and other science, technology, and innovation. So I hope from today we will increase the cooperation between Thailand, Slovenia, Austria, and also other European countries. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency. Yes, and thank you very much for the invitation on behalf of both presidents. One more last signature, Samosha and podpis. I'm kindly asking the delegation from the University of Mostar, poštovani kolege, Professor Dr. Zoran Tomić, Rektor Univerziteta u Mostaru. Professor Dr. Zoran Tomić is Director of the University of Mostar, and we are signing a festive cooperation agreement also with Mostar. Professor Toplak, Ludvik Toplak, potrebujemo vas še za en podpis. Okay. Izvolite. Now, we have started cooperating with Bosnian universities, but of course we want to intensify this cooperation in different fields. Okay. Good. Thank you very much to all the signatories. We have now officially entered a lot of international cooperations, and we are really glad about them. Yeah. For the first time meeting in Maribor, Rector of Mostar University and Professor Toplak and Professor Unger. We look forward to cooperation. Thank you very much. Professor Tomic, I know you were not asked to do that, but 2 sentences really quickly, since everybody else also spoke. I can translate very quickly.
Gospodine predsjedniče, doktore Toplak, dame i gospodo, čast mi je da mogu danas u ime sveučilišta u Mostaru potpisati ovaj sporazum sa vrlo važnim i uglednim sveučilištem kao što je Alma Mater.
Dear ladies and gentlemen, dear Professor Toplak, it is a special privilege and an honor for having a chance to sign a cooperation agreement with the University of Alma Mater.
Sveučilište u Mostaru je jedno od 8 javnih sveučilišta u Bosni i Hercegovini.
University of Mostar is one of the 8 public universities in Bosnia.
Trenutno smo predsjedavajući rektorske konferencije, pa vas ujedno pozdravljam i kao predsjednik rektorske konferencije Bosne i Hercegovine.
We are at the moment presiding over the Rectors Conference, so I would also like to address you in the name of the President of the Bosnian Rectors Conference.
Specifičnost našeg javnog otvorenog sveučilišta je da je jedino sveučilište u Bosni i Hercegovini koji radi na službenom hrvatskom jeziku.
So I would like to emphasize that our university is the only university in Bosnia that's been working in Croatian language.
Akreditirani smo od domaćih i međunarodnih agencija.
We have national and international accreditations.
Imamo 11 fakulteta i 14.000 studenata.
We have 11 faculties and 14,000 students.
Od toga je 20% studenata iz susjednih zemalja.
20% of students come from neighboring countries.
Ovim sporazumom želimo otvoriti vrata razmjeni studenata i profesora, perspektivi zajedničkih istraživanja i projekata.
Okay, with this memorandum of understanding, we're trying to open up the doors to students, professors, and of course joint projects.
Želimo s vama surađivati na novim tehnologijama u obrazovanju i modelima cjeloživotnog učenja.
And we would love to cooperate with you on lifelong learning and educational projects.
Vjerujem kako će ovaj okvirni sporazum dati brojne druge perspektive i na tomu vam hvala od srca što ste nam omogućili da vam budemo partneri. Hvala od srca, gospodine predsjedniče.
And I'm confident that this cooperation agreement will start a lot of joint initiatives. So thank you very much from all my heart, Mr. President. Thank you. Najljepša hvala, Professor Zoran Tomic. It's officially over now. Thank you very much for bearing with us. Končali smo. Najlepša hvala, da ste zdržali z nami v dvorani. Sekcije se začnejo čez 45 minut, so sections start in 45 minutes, but of course the keynote speakers deserve lunch. So keynote speakers and delegations, please stay here with Professor